most exciting destination in all of northern Wisconsin. LCO Casino Lodge and Convention Center, Hayward. LCO.
Hello, I'm Kimberlie, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Native News Update. It's Friday, October 14th, and many of the stories you hear here can be found at IndianCountryNews.com. And here's the news for today from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. 2 Native American women who served in the U.S. military were formally honored after being discovered during research for a veterans exhibit unveiled at the Sandoval County Administration Building in New Mexico earlier this year. Historical researcher Colonel David C. Baca found the women known by the aliases Mexicana Chicado and Muchacha in 1886 military records during his research for the county project. The 2 women were honored at the 2nd Annual Veterans Summit at Red Rock Park in Gallup, New Mexico. Representatives from the U.S. Army Women's Museum in Fort Lee, Virginia, attended with a traveling exhibit dedicated to the military service of women veterans, and presented the Navajo Nation in the state of New Mexico with a proclamation recognizing the 2 Native American women's military service. Native American tribes from across the United States and Canada will meet in Washington, D.C. October 21st to offer forgiveness to a nation that has not asked for it. Several hundred tribes are expected at the all-day outdoor event at the Washington Monument, organized by Reverend Nigel Big Pond, apostle at Morning Star Church of All Nations in Oklahoma. Big Pond said that by offering forgiveness to the United States for centuries of atrocities and broken promises, unified Native American people can begin a healing process that will affect not only them, but the entire nation. He said unforgiveness and bitterness toward the United States has hurt Native people. He said impetus for the All Tribes DC event comes from a statement that Reverend Billy Graham made in March 1975 to some 100 Native American Christian leaders meeting in New Mexico. According to Big Pond, Graham said the Native American is a sleeping giant. He is awakening. The original Americans could become the evangelist who will help win America for Christ. Yakama tribal members are helping build tiny houses for those who have been living at a homeless encampment on the reservation. The Yakama Herald-Republic reports about 130 people have been living at the encampment since being evicted from tribal housing projects over the summer. They are among about 270 tribal members who were asked to leave the housing projects for failing to comply with lease agreements. Volunteers were helping to build new tiny houses for the homeless residents on October 10th. Janice Ho, who oversees the encampment, says residents have to follow certain rules in order to move into the new 8 by 10 foot structures. The rules include cleaning up, attending tenant meetings, and refraining from alcohol and drugs. Residents will also have access to substance abuse treatment, GED classes, and banking courses. The Menominee Nation in Wisconsin faces cultural and economic challenges as climate change impacts its forest home. A $1.7 million grant from the National Science Foundation will study this relationship and how it could inform decision-making about forest management. Erica Smithwick, Associate Professor of Geography and Associate in the Earth and Environmental Systems Institute at Penn State, is the principal investigator on the 5-year project. Smithwick will work with an interdisciplinary Penn State team in collaboration with co-principal investigator Christopher Caldwell, director of the Sustainable Development Institute at the College of the Menominee Nation. The project centers around the Menominee Nation, whose remaining ancestral lands contain a forest that has been managed sustainably for timber harvest for more than 150 years. The Menominee Forest is vital for the cultural and economic identity of more than 9,000 enrolled tribal members who live on or near the reservation. The House of Bald Eagle is the new eagles aviary owned by the Coeur d'Alene tribe and is the first tribal eagle aviary in the Pacific Northwest. After 2 years of research, planning, and building, the tribe was presented the proper permits by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to start receiving injured eagles that will never be able to live on their own. The tribe's aviary, which is on the Birds of Prey Northwest property, consists of 2 50 feet by 10 feet enclosures that can be hosted up to 3 eagles. Eventually, the tribe hopes to move the aviary in a more central location on the reservation so it can be used for cultural and conservation education. But for now, it's not open to the public, only the tribal employees who will be working at the aviary. Jane Feldkamp, the owner and operator of Birds of Prey Northwest, has worked with the tribe to make the aviary happen. She has offered to continue to mentor the tribal members working there about how to take care of the birds that come to them. And that's another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and have a grand day.